Heidi ho neighbors, Radio Goji here.
And I'm Soylent Greg.
And welcome to an impromptu Squeeze the World video thing that we decided to do. I've been kicking the old peanut around about reviving the podcast and like my old vlog thing.
But we're very lazy, so we decided to just point a camera at ourselves and have at it without preparation or editing or fancy video effects. Although if my negotiations with EMG have gone through, you should be hearing the dulcet tones of Steely Dan's "Do It Again" fading in over the Squeeze the World logo. I don't know if they've responded to the emails I've sent.
We'll know when this goes up.
So hi, welcome to Squeeze the World Gaming Podcast video
podcast. We're going to try to do this again, except with video because it's easier to do it that way.
Today's episode we are talking about terrible video game practices, terrible video games, and an absolutely ungodly, awful article from Shitpile Kotaku. But first, what are you playing this week, Patrick?
Dragon Quest XI.
Oh, hey! Yes, if you've been watching Rado's channel, you have seen that he did an unboxing video for the Ultra Super Mega, whatever the fuck it's called, edition
of Lost Time.
Of Lost Time.
I kept saying Lost Light during the video, but that's not true. It's Lost Time.
But you go in search of Lost Time, actually, in Dragon Quest XI.
It's very good so far, and I'm enjoying it.
You dunk Madeleines in tea, and then you beat up on slimes for 100 hours.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
We look forward to it. Definitely recommend. 10 out of 10, pick it up. What about you, Greg? What are you playing?
Not a lot. I picked up, as I told you, I picked up Yakuza 0, and I'm about an hour into that. But I keep getting sidetracked to play matches of Dead by Daylight. I actually purchased Dead by Daylight. It finally happened to me. I purchased Dead by Daylight at the request of my sister and her fiancé, who wanted me to play it with them. And like 3 days later, it got announced as one of the free games for PlayStation Plus for the month. So everybody knows somebody who bought a game and then it immediately became free on PS Plus. I was that guy.
And that's chaos.
That's chaos. I love the game. I hate how fucking salty and awful people are. I'm trying to rank up as a killer. I'm sick of multiple people disconnecting on me every match right before they die.
Because they're not so good.
They're the worst. I'm just glad it's not like the PC version and we can't like type to each other after the match is over. So if somebody wants to complain and be a little bitch baby, they have to actually send me a message over PlayStation, which takes too fucking long.
Yeah, it's not even worth it. But I actually been a little interested in playing Yakuza 0 myself. Oddly enough, because I started seeing like the reviews and stuff for the Shenmue re-release and how it's not that great. I mean, there are some people that really like it, but it hasn't aged well at all.
Shenmue re-release?
Yeah, they Sega re-released Shenmue 1 and 2.
On what systems? Like PlayStation?
PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I believe.
I did not know this.
And
some video game podcaster you are.
Apparently they didn't do the greatest of jobs. Like, they didn't like give any quality of life improvements to anything.
Oh, so it's like the Dark Souls remaster.
Yeah, and they had lost the original recordings of the sound.
Oh,
so all of the sound that's in the game is, I don't know how they ripped it, or
they lowered a microphone into a storm drain and played real media.rm real media player files from the late 90s. And that is the sound.
Do you know where sailors hang out?
That's exactly the quality.
That's pretty much the quality from what I've seen
in 2018.
But Sega also made Yakuza, and Yakuza seems like it's did a lot better job at that sort of game. So I'm a little bit more interested in that than Shenmue.
Sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, sure.
We're renegade podcasters. We will sip soda right in the middle of the right in the live fucking shot.
Doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna watch this.
Nobody's gonna watch. Gonna have 0 views 24 hours from now.
We're not monetized. We're not crowdfunded.
We don't get kickbacks. We don't get reach arounds from the game industry. We don't get friends on Twitter or Facebook or real life.
I had to buy my own Dragon Quest XI Collector's Edition, and they charged me for it when I didn't have the money. So let's get on to our topics.
All right, so let's get down to our topics for the day.
So
A lot going on in the game industry this week.
So there was one article I saw recently on Push Square because I get all my stuff from Nintendo Life and Push Square. I don't go to places like Kotaku or Destructoid or
Polygon or Waypoint. Or
I don't even know what Waypoint is.
Waypoint is Vice Media's video game website.
Was that the one where that was putting up the fanfics?
The actual legitimate fan fictions, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I know what that. I remember what that is.
Sweet Jesus, yes.
So anyway,
they didn't put up my fan fiction about my 1,000-page fan fiction about Silent Hill and how all of the evils in the Silent Hill universe are because of male circumcision. It's kind of weirded out that they just skipped right over that. I just had to edit like a bunch of Wikipedia pages.
We edited it into the 10 bots
to have it
10 shots, 10 bots
exactly.
video. Now, Greg's gotten me into watching the Jimquisition and stuff recently, so, not to steal his thunder like we even could anyway, thank God for him.
Watch out!
But, it's gotten me more, whenever I see articles that pertain to the game industry's bullshit, I tend to respond to it a bit more now.
You pay more attention.
I pay more attention, and I saw this,
You're not just
article.
watching, Markiplier play horror video game number 7,859 and
I still am, but
make those faces.
yeah.
Them handsome faces.
But there was an article about I think the producer of NBA 2K19.
Oh yeah.
I think it was in an interview with someone. Basically, outright said microtransactions are an unfortunate reality in video games
Exactly.
now.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And my response to that is, they're only an unfortunate reality because you want them to be. When major publishers, and I refuse to use the term AAA publishers with these people because AAA insinuates that everything that they make is really, really good because that's what AAA means in that context. Not necessarily true, so I just call them major publishers.
Reminder that in baseball, AAA means the people who can't be in the fucking majors, but...
Anyway, major publishers come up with this kind of shit all the time. I remember, some time ago, I think it was a couple of years back, there was, I think, one of the higher-ups in EA was like, all digital games are the way of the future. And I'm like, it's only because you want them to be, because you want to screw over the physical game market so that you can make more money. And I understand.
Not that screwing over GameStop isn't a laudable and noble goal.
I can understand the fact that, businesses are based off of making money. And, you gotta make that's why the businesses are there. But for me, it's when the concept of good enough is no longer viable, that's when things get out of hand. And that's the way everything is nowadays with a lot of these major publishers like EA and Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft and stuff like that. Who keep, even though we have games that you're already paying $60 to play, to get to play, you still have all the DLC that's announced before the game comes out. And that's the case for if you're already planning it that far ahead, just put it in the fucking game before you release it. Or fucking microtransactions.
Right.
And you get situations like with what happened to Star Wars Battlefront 2, where EA eventually said, oh yeah, if we didn't have the microtransactions in there, we wouldn't lose money. Then why the fuck are they in there? You mean, we're under the illusion... that we're trying to be put under the illusion that stuff like DLC and season passes and microtransactions is all there because it's more expensive to develop video games right now, and I'm fairly sure that's true. And the $60 price tag really doesn't cut it anymore, and they're just kind of keeping it that way as some sort of a what's the word I'm thinking of?
Sorry, I can't help you.
A convenience.
I hate it when that happens mid-rant.
Yeah, I can't think of the word. It's on the tip of my tongue.
To save your ass, I will state that there is a case that's made, particularly in game journalism, magazines, and articles and such, that the cost... There you go. The cost of a video game has not gone up since 1997 or so with regards to inflation.
Right.
You know, a copy of GoldenEye 007 cost $60 back in 2000 or 1999, and today's market, the same game still costs $60.
I remember they were 50 for a while.
But I remember paying $60 for GoldenEye. That's why I use that particular example. And the idea is that hasn't gone up, and that it needs to cost more. And there's also more people are buying. There's downward pressure on prices in the industry for things like Steam sales and the like. But you know what else hasn't gotten like an increase with regards to inflation since 1997? Like,
what's that, Greg?
The average wages of the American worker. Our product, it just doesn't. That $60 just doesn't go as far as it used to. Like, tell me something I don't fucking know. Like in 1990, when I went out and bought GoldenEye, like $5 would buy you a large McDonald's Big Mac combo, like no problem. Now it's like $8.50. It's insane. And people's wages have not. I don't mean to get political. People's wages have not gone up to match that. So to expect people to not only pay $60 for an entertainment product, which may, if it's something that's a linear story-based game like an Assassin's Creed game, only last them 10 to 12 hours.
Right.
And then to put ending content in DLC, to have a progression locked under a crate-based system that is basically legalized gambling like Shadow of War did until they got backlash for it and had to change it. It's fucking unconscionable.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead and continue ranting.
But you pretty much like hit a lot of the points that I was going to make too. But I mean, I am okay with microtransactions if it's like a free to play game. I've played a lot of free to play games on my phone here and there, and if I like the game enough and I want to support the developers, I'll throw $20 their way for more stuff in Pokemon Go or something like that.
Warframe,
and that's fine. But I think I mentioned this on the older podcast before, but there was a point like when Mass Effect 3 came out and this whole microtransaction bullshit was like a brand new thing at the time. I got caught up in that.
Oh, absolutely. I remember that.
I remember one time I got like a $50 game card for Xbox Live, and I spent the entire thing on Mass Effect 3 loot boxes. So, I mean, I don't really consider myself a hypocrite in this because I don't feel that I knew better back at the time. Now I do, and I've learned my lesson.
I mean, it's gambling. It
absolutely is
gambling. Like I know the news of the day is not just the NBA thing, but it's also that the NBA and as well as Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm are no longer allowed to have loot boxes in Belgium. I believe it's Belgium.
Belgium and the Netherlands, I think.
The Netherlands, because they ruled that it was
gambling.
And it is gambling.
Yes. And now 2K is trying to get people to talk to their governments to let them put the gambling back in the games.
Yeah.
Saw that on Sterling recently.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Contact your congressman and tell them I
really
want to get ripped off.
And if people are really smart about that, they're not going to do that, and I really don't understand why 2K thinks that that's going to happen, why they think this is okay.
I mean, somebody will, but
somebody will.
Hopefully, it'll be
it'll be like one dude.
The poor bastards at the Belgian consulate.
It would be Jean-Paul.
I can't do a fucking Belgian accent. I'm just going to do a German accent. Jean-Claude, come here. Put your shirt back on and stop yelling at the 12-year-old boys in the alley. This man, he said he's from the internet and he wants to purchase boxes full of basketball t-shirts. Like that is what EA is asking people to do. They're trying to mobilize, and the fucked up thing is that this is like a cargo cult thing, because they saw what happened with Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Where what happened was it was unpopular and they had masses of people who were angry about it. I mean, it's not the same as having people marching in the street or anything, obviously.
Yeah.
It's slacktivism, but it's people posting on Reddit, people upvoting threads that are negative about it.
Right.
And EA obviously saw all of this happen, and when the NBA thing they said, well, how about we get us some of that outrage? But, they don't realize that the outrage is directed at them because we hate them. We hate the people who make the things that we love.
And it's gotten to a point where, like, I know that, a couple of years ago, I had decided, after all of EA's bullshit, I'm not buying any more of their games, and I still haven't. But I'm getting to a point now where I'm considering, like, not supporting any of these other publishers, despite the fact that there are games that, are either out or coming out that I still maybe want to get. Like, I'm still interested in getting, the Crash Insane trilogy on the Switch, but I really don't want to support Activision. And it's not all, not all developers are guilty of this. Like, one of the only good eggs I think that's left is Sega, and by extension Atlas. The worst things that they've done are just some crappy remakes here and there. Like, they did that Genesis collection that had frame rate issues and stuff, and
they do occasionally drop large amounts of paid DLC in their games, but whatever.
It's not like pay to win stuff. It's not like it's a lot. I mean, I know that people will make the just cosmetic thing either being good or still bad.
I thought you were talking about Just Cause for a second.
No.
Did Sega make Just Cause?
No, they didn't. But when it's something that's not, when it is something that's cosmetic, it is a little bit more. It's easier to avoid that, especially if it's like a single-player game.
Don't we all really deserve cosmetics? Don't we deserve the ability to individualize our characters?
Yeah.
To dress them in ridiculous chicken hats? I
think it's more on the multiplayer end of things, like Overwatch and such, that are where
Fortnite.
it's Fortnite, where it's more of an in-your-face thing about that. But, like, if I want to get, like, different costumes for my Persona characters,
right,
I'm going to be less willing to spend money on that. But yeah, I'm just I'm almost at a point where there's probably going to be a point in the future where I'm just not going to buy new video games anymore.
And then our podcast is going to be the Squeeze the World Gaming Retro Podcast, where we talk about all the Super Nintendo games we're playing on ZSNES this week. Join us as Greg talks about how bitchin' hard Soul Blazer is, and Patrick tries his hand at Harvest Moon.
I like Harvest Moon.
I love Harvest Moon. That's an official Squeeze the World Gaming Podcast position. Harvest Moon, pretty good.
Yeah,
that's going on the front of the next Harvest Moon box. It's pretty good. Squeeze the World Gaming.
I heard a lot of Harvest Moon games aren't really as good anymore.
It's all right,
especially when you have stuff like Stardew Valley that's already out right now.
Oh yeah, Stardew Valley is the shit.
I don't think that Harvest Moon can touch that anymore.
What's next on the docket to talk about?
That's
today?
my Grievances aired for the evening.
This episode, by the way, is the airing of Grievances.
Yeah, Festivus is coming early this year for the game industry. I think it was the thing that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do we might as well do a Squeeze the World reading series. As you know, I'm a big fan of ripping off other podcasts that do reading series where they make fun of articles that blowhards have posted, and I'm never above doing that to the video game industry. So, as you may have noticed this previous Labor Day weekend, as you were going out to barbecue with your family or to sit down for 12 hours.
I worked.
Sit down for or work if you're one of the many, many, many people in the service industry, or sit down for 12 hours and scream at 12-year-olds on Fortnite. You may have gone to your local video game journalism store to determine if any
video game journalism store.
You went to the drive-thru at the video game journalism store to see if there were any cool video game news that dropped over the weekend. And instead, I booted up Kotaku on Labor Day, and the front page article, which I shared to my Facebook, was this gem from, banner of video games journalism Kotaku. This is my phone, incidentally. So this is an article by Maddie Myers, who has a very interesting hairstyle. And it's the byline is, "No Master Chief suit does not jerk him off." I was trying so hard to get through that with a straight face. So yes, This is the most important thing that Kotaku thinks that you should be, while you reflect on the sacrifices that have been made in the support of labor, of things like minimum wage and unions, and all of the good things that labor has built in this country, they want you to be thinking about the man who labored to save us from the Covenant and how he's not getting handies from the inside of his Spartan suit. So this is important. Bear with me. Okay, so it starts like this. An erroneous piece of Halo lore began with a joke by the Twitter account Drill best Twitter account, by the way, posted on May 11th, 2017. My main issue with Master Chief fucks Cortana is if you read the Halo novels, you know the spacesuit automatically jacks Master Chief off. By the next day, Halo fans have begun circulating a page purported to be from Eric Nyland's Halo novel, The Fall of Reach. The excerpt on this page appears to back up Drill's assertion. Too bad it's a clever fake. So what goes on here?
Don't say.
They post the screenshot of the fake Eric Nyland thing that's about like I'll read a bit of it here. The Mjolnir combat armor is quite possibly the most critical advancement in our program, she began. It will serve as a lifeline to our Spartans. It increases their already enhanced agility, strength, and reflexes. The outer casing is a titanium alloy, and the undersuit is an advanced flex suit capable of applying biofoam whenever necessary. One of the benefactors cut her off. Am I seeing this right? She looked up from her PDA and quoted the text. The groin region packs a sexual stimulant designed to reduce combat stress and, yes it does, but we will be discussing inquiries on the Mjolnir armor on a later date. Okay, so here's my thing about this. One, this is fucking ridiculous for a video game. If you want people to take video game journalism serious.
And who does anymore?
There's no one on Earth, with the possible exception of Polygon, there's no one on Earth who wants you to take video game journalism seriously like Kotaku wants you to take it seriously. And then they post this shit. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Master Chief's battle suit does not jerk him off.
Right.
Bungie did not think of that when they were designing the Master Chief. But here's the thing. Because I've been aware of this. This wasn't the first time I saw this. This article, yes, but this wasn't the first time I'd seen this thing about Master Chief's suit. I'm a big fan of Drill, by the way, as you should be as well. I'd seen jokes about it before, so I was aware of it, and my reaction was, oh my god, I can't believe they're writing a fucking article about Master Chief's suit jerking him off. Nobody actually thinks that that somebody wrote a Halo novel where Master Chief's suit jerks him off. Nobody actually believes that. But they post about it on the internet because it's funny as fuck. Because Master Chief is essentially this faceless avatar of war whose only pleasure in life is ripping through some sort of Purple Panther man with an energy sword, and then teabagging, jumping up and squatting up and down on his face. That's the only thing close to sexual satisfaction that Master Chief ever feels. And he spends 5 games, lusting after his anime waifu, who is now the voice of your fucking Microsoft phone. Talk about fucking brand synergy. So, but the thing that gets me about this is Kotaku, even you would think that the image that they want to present here is that they're being kind of frivolous. It's a holiday, it's Labor Day. They're writing an article about Master Chief's suit jerking him off, and it's, hey, we're funny, we're fun. We can talk about the lighter side of games. We can talk about
we're hip with the memes.
How are you doing, fellow gamers? We're Steve Buscemi with the Xbox One controller on his shoulder. They're trying to project that image. But what this article is, it's the no fun zone. Nobody actually thinks that. They say it because it's funny as hell. It's just like how this week, I'm not getting political, but a political thing happened this week. There was an anonymous things put in the New York Times by someone claiming to be in the Trump administration, and everybody on the internet is making jokes about it being Mike Pence. Does anybody actually think it was Mike Pence? No, but it's funny as fuck for it to be Mike Pence.
Right.
So this is the equivalent. This is Kotaku. Well, actually, as you are aware, the Spartan Mark II suit does not provide masturbatory stimulation to Spartan generals, and to suggest otherwise is just absolutely disgusting. My Halo lore. If we're not allowed to have fun. We're not allowed. We have
fun all the time on this channel.
Exactly. You're not allowed to make a sex joke about the person who, if they were real, would probably be one of the most sexually frustrated video game protagonists of all time, because all he does is sit in a suit and stare at a purple woman's tits and ass all day and then shoot people. That's all Master Chief does, and things explode. So, it's a funny tweet. It's something that Drill probably thought of in 5 minutes and fucking posted on Twitter. And, people have made jokes about it, but here's Kotaku basically saying, guys, actually, y'all should be aware that
that your joke is not actually
canon. Canonical.
Yeah.
So it's just it's the irony is it's them trying to be hip and carefree and to not be such fucking stoic fucking video games must be a serious art medium thing at all times like they are. But in doing so, it only makes them that even more.
Yes.
And also, the suit totally fucking jerks him off. Fuck you. Master Chief is standing here, he's like, oh yeah. The suit, it doesn't jerk him off. It blows him. Okay? And never mind. Who's the recurring character, the major guy who's like Keith David?
I don't know.
It's modeled after him. There's a little head that's in there. That's built in. See, they need to give me the Halo novels. This is what I would do. I would have floating disembodied heads screaming at the Master Chief and sucking him off. And and on that day, video games would become art. Mic drop.
So, before we go, because we've traditionally been
because we can't end it on that. Dear God.
We traditionally do 3 features in an episode. So, something that I've been thinking about, especially since I've been playing Dragon Quest XI, I'm kind of pessimistic about the future of Dragon Quest in America. Now, it's not to say that Dragon Quest XI is a bad game or anything like that. It's actually really fun. I've been playing it a lot.
We actually played 45 minutes of it before we shot this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick played, I watched. It looks real good.
The thing is, and I started thinking about this back when I read an article. This was a few months ago about how they were still working on the Switch version and everything, because there's at first I was when I heard that this was coming out to the West, my initial plan was to buy it for the 3DS.
Okay.
And then Square was like, no, we're not coming out for the 3DS version over here. It's just going to be the PS4 one at first, and then whenever the Switch version comes out, then the Switch version will come out over here. But I don't know if that's really going to happen, because they said that they're still working on it. We don't know when the Switch version is coming out. That's why I decided to get the PS4 version and not wait for the Switch version, because this September 2018, there's a lot of shit coming out for PS4 in September. And I think that may doom Dragon Quest in a way, because Dragon Quest has never been the most popular thing that Square has done over here. I mean, in Japan, it's the bee's knees. It's the thing. It is so entwined in their popular culture that, it's guaranteed to sell, millions and millions of copies, day one. Over here, we've had such a varied, variance of success and failure with these games, because when Dragon Warrior first came out over here, it was after Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy was what was caught on over here, and it got to the point where Dragon Quest 5 and 6 didn't come out here originally on the SNES, and it was just usually when a major entry came out, then there would be a little bit of hubbub over it, and then it would just go away.
Well, they did that, not to interrupt, but they did that with Final Fantasy as well, right? Final Fantasy 2 and 3, the original ones, never came out in the United States.
Well, with Final Fantasy 2, it was a timing thing, because they actually did localize Final Fantasy 2, but they decided not to release it because the Super NES was on the way.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 3 was deemed too hard for Americans because it had a job system in it. That's the reason why Final Fantasy 5 didn't come out originally either. But it makes me think back to, I believe, around 2008, 2009. That was one of the pockets of time where they had started releasing Dragon Quest games again. Dragon Quest Swords came out on the Wii, and Dragon Quest 4 and 5, the remakes, came out for the DS, and it was the first time we had ever seen Dragon Quest 5 localized for Western audiences. But the DS versions didn't do well, and Square was so adamant on pulling its support for the remake of Dragon Quest 6 on the DS, as well as Dragon Quest 9, which was originally released on the DS, that Nintendo pulled a Mega Man 6 and published the games themselves over here.
Okay.
So that basically paints a picture of just how hair trigger Square Enix is with pulling support for Dragon Quest the moment it doesn't do well. We were actually really lucky that Dragon Quest Heroes did so well, because I'm fairly sure that was Koei Tecmo saying it's a Dynasty Warriors game, it's going to sell, we're going to release it over here no matter what. And Square was like, well, if that does well, then we'll consider putting out more Dragon Quest games. And it did well enough. We got Dragon Quest Builders, Dragon Quest 7 and 8 were re-released on the 3DS. And, of course, Dragon Quest Heroes 2 and Dragon Quest 11 came out. The latter came out just a couple days ago. But considering that for the PS4 alone, everyone's moved their normal October releases over to September, because fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out in October.
Yes.
And no one wants to fuck with that.
That's going to clean house. Absolutely.
And so we've got the new Tomb Raider games coming out. Spider-Man just came out, I think.
It did. It came out 2 days ago? Yes.
Yeah.
This is Thursday.
Destiny 2 is still popular for whatever reason. So that had a new expansion that came out. Well, they are literally giving away, but the new expansion for that came out. And I think that compared to Dragon Quest, that's pretty much going to be buried under all the other stuff that's coming out this month. And that's the main reason I got the Super Collector's Edition,
to support them,
was because I wanted to support Dragon Quest's presence over here. I mean, otherwise I probably wouldn't have done so. But if I thought there was any kind of doubt that it would flop, or that if I didn't think there was any doubt that it wouldn't flop, then I probably wouldn't have done that. But now I'm kind of scared that we may not get a Switch release. And that's the main reason I went for the PS4 one, was because who even knows if when the Switch release comes out, if it will even come out over here. Because Square may pull the support for it. But that's just my thoughts and fears on that.
If I may add,
please.
I'm kind of two minds of this, just from listening to you talk, because it does seem like Dragon Quest is kind of on an uptick with the Builders spin-off, with the Heroes spin-off and such. And that would certainly portend positive things for it. And it's not as if there aren't tons of sort of niche series that do well in Japan that don't do as well in the West, that still continue to be supported, like things like Trails in the Sky, or my boy, the Ys. Still need to pick up Ys 8. But I would also point out that none of those games are published under the Square Enix banner. And Square Enix is sort of notorious for being exceedingly harsh on any property they publish that isn't Final Fantasy.
15.
This is the same Square Enix that considered the original Tomb Raider reboot a disappointment sales-wise, despite it cracking like 6 million fucking copies. So they have fairly unrealistic expectations for every series that they produce that does not have a chocobo in it. So I I'm gonna bet. I mean, Patrick's saying no Switch version. I'm gonna bet that there is gonna be a Switch version, if for no other reason than the Switch is printing money hand over fucking fist right
That's
now.
true, yeah.
And everybody wants to get on the Switch while the sort of the gold rush with regards
Except
to it
EA.
is good. Except EA. Fuck EA. Even fucking Blizzard wants to get on the Switch.
Yeah, Diablo
now.
3's coming out for the
Diablo
Switch.
3 on the Switch.
I mean, I don't care, but it's coming out.
They're making noises about... They're kind of making noises about Overwatch on the Switch maybe happening.
Fortnite's out on the Switch. That's a big hit on there.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They're bringing out
Overwatch
Saints
came
Row
out on the
3
Switch.
on the Switch.
That's really fucking weird.
I'm
That's like the weird
probably
going to
get it because it's a good game, but
why 3? It doesn't make
I don't
sense.
know, but I like 3,
But,
so I'll still get it.
So I think with the sort of gold rush that's going on the Switch right now, I wouldn't count anything, any remaster or anything by a developer. I would count none of them out for the Switch. Except for Alpha Protocol, which is never being remade into a new version.
But let me end by saying it's not that Dragon Quest XI isn't well received. It's reviewing very well.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But so did Dragon Quest VIII. So on that bombshell.
Oh no!
I think it's time to say goodbye for now.
I think it is. I'm sorry, YouTube.
We're probably going to try to see if we can revive this sort of format.
Yeah, this is fun. I like this. I like the video format. Hopefully, I'll be less fucking awkward next time.
But this was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, maybe
so
I'll shave or something like that. Something wacky.
Maybe we'll play more Deadly Premonition.
Perhaps.
I still have some unedited parts of that to go up.
Who knows?
Because I've been a lazy bastard. But
the sky's the limit.
But until we next meet, I've been Rado Goji.
And I'm Sterling Greg.
And we'll be here next time. Join us, won't you?
Rest in peace, Burt Reynolds.